Hey there, today I want to kind of do a state of the game for Marvel Crisis Protocol because it seems that we are in a somewhat uncharted territory with this system at least. My name is Nate and welcome to the Gamers Guild. Alright, so like it implies in the thumbnail, this is not going to be a doom and gloom video. Granted, it's also not going to be all sunshine and rainbows because, let's face it, some parts of this game aren't in a good place. Let's start with the obvious. Marvel Crisis Protocol is not a dead game. We have a plethora of releases shown that goes through early next year with a bunch of the new X-Men releases, but we're still also in a bit of an awkward place because we have known about all of those releases for at least 4 months now and haven't seen anything new aside from the cards of what we already knew was coming. So we are in a bit of an awkward spot in that regard, and because of the lack of releases in June and then again here in August soon, there's been a lackluster amount of news when compared to what we are used to getting with weekly card reveals or news. But really, a release every other month is more than what several other games get, and even better for MCP is that all of those releases can be used with what you already have, regardless of affiliations and stuff. With army-specific games like Warhammer, some armies haven't really gotten new models or even updated ones for the better part of a decade. Sorry, Space Elves. So really, it's more likely that we have just been spoiled for the past year and a half or so, and I'll go more as to why I think the game is in a little bit of an awkward spot. But first, I do want to fully address the thumbnail and why you may have seen posts or other people talking about MCP being a dead game. To me, at least, the posts I have seen are kind of two different groups throwing this out as a meme or whatever else. First is the group that is using it as more of a joke because of the lack of announcements. Secondly, the group that is frustrated with where the meta is at. The first group I just find funny, and sometimes we even joke about how certain affiliations are dead because of the lack of release for them. The second group, though, I think has some valid concerns for the players and groups that enjoy a more competitive version of the game. MCP has been dominated by the Tiger King and other big boy threats that have been released or discovered for the better part of a year now since Malekith's first release. There was a time right after Malekith's nerf that it seemed that it was enough and the meta was going to be wide open again. I even made a video about it and everything because between the top 8 of 2 64-player events, we had 12 different affiliations represented. And then people started putting the Cat King back on the table, and he was still a dominant piece. Since then, we have had the Immortal Hulk and Cosmic Ghost Rider release, who are also both murder machines that can lay waste to models easily round 1. This makes for an overall very aggressive feel for the game, where if you just leave a model on the midline round 1 to get or hold an objective, they can very easily end up dazed, which doesn't feel great because then that player typically will hold priority and just outright kill them before they even get a second activation. And because of the dominance before and after that February-March period, it all kind of blurs into a year of this kind of gameplay at those top levels. However, it does seem like AMG is at least aware of what is going on because some of the cards that makes those lists so dominant just got banned and restricted. Unfortunately, now those lists are just replacing Follow Me that was on the restricted list and got banned with a Deception because it just moved to the restricted list, and the list for the most part functions the same. Despite that, it gives me a sense of peace that AMG is aware of the problems and are looking for ways to fix them, because at the end of the day, the 1.5 update and then the Crisis Card update have both done just tremendous things for the game. If you want more on this particular discussion around the banned and restricted list, check out the House Party Protocol latest podcast, where Will and I go into the banned and restricted list a bit more thoroughly than this minute. So let's get back to the awkward stuff, because really, aside from the big bads, MCP as a whole hasn't had any missteps. More so just, again, awkwardness. Like, we've gotten several fan-favorite characters that are generally more niche, but the crowd that likes those characters loves those characters. Spider-Woman, Beta Ray Bill, Gwenpool, Squirrel Girl, and of course Agent Venom, but we haven't had any new big-name characters released this year. We finally got shown a bunch of those X-Men we are waiting for, but it seems like those are being saved for early next year. So in some ways that makes for a slower year in releases. Additionally, we have only had characters that are 4 or more threat released this year, which is, again, great for those affiliations that got those releases because they're all solid, but for that same reason, it's getting harder and harder to splash 4-threat characters into other affiliations, so a lot of these packs aren't quite as exciting for everyone. Then finally, we have the leadership drought. This year, we have gotten 2 Criminal Syndicate leaders and a new Wakandan leader. None of this is inherently bad. As a matter of fact, I would go so far to say that M'Baku is extremely welcome to Wakanda. But Criminal Syndicate now has 4 leaderships, and while MODOK's is interesting, it's not quite as strong as Daredevil's or Kingpin's. And Claws, man, Claws is really not even great. It could be fun for narrative play, I guess. But this also means we haven't gotten any new affiliations to shake things up either. All of this to say, we keep getting new releases and fan favorite characters, but they aren't the ones that are universally as well known. We are still getting new leaderships, but only one of them this year has really opened up new gameplay options for that affiliation, which can make things feel even a little bit more stale, even if you really have tons and tons of options. So, I've talked about the bad and the awkward, so let's talk about the good stuff. One, outside of the meta giants, the game is in a fantastic place and really, really fun to just play. The Crisis cards we got late last year have held up extremely well, and all have a place to play depending on the team you're running. 2, for me personally, I'm still finding new things to play and mess around with at the LGS on game nights. I finally got around to building Gwenpool and Squirrel Girl, and I'm really excited to give them a world with Sam, or maybe even She-Hulk and A-Force. But like that's my point. There are so many options to still play around with and have fun at the narrative, casual, and toon levels of gameplay. Then for my third and final point is more of a point of hope. Gen Con is just 2 weeks away, and really less since it starts on a Wednesday. And since we have kind of gotten radio silent since March and Adepticon, I'm holding out hope that AMG has news on the 2023 card pack or something that they've been holding out for Gen Con. Now, I'm also holding the hopes I have in check a little bit because last year's Gen Con was a whole lot of nothing. Like, AMG didn't even have display cases for their models or staff at Gen Con, let alone an announcement. Just a few demo tables and some admittedly awesome volunteers showing off the game. So it could turn out to be a big nothing. But also last year AMG was still doing mini extravaganzas, and had one right before Gen Con, if I remember correctly. So I'm holding out hope. At the end of the day, AMG hasn't really done wrong by us, aside from my complaints about the Rivals packs. If anything, AMG had a new game in development, and they are rightfully excited for its release and giving it time to shine with Shatterpoint, but they also got slammed with 3 other game systems while developing another game, and it didn't really seem that they were fully prepared to take on 5 games at once, so we might also be seeing the results of that now to a degree as well. If we do get a new reveal at Gen Con, what do you think it'll be? Or what do you hope it'll be? I'm personally a fan of the Year 4 Fantastic Four theory, so let me know down in the comments what you hope to find at Gen Con. Here at the end of the video, I want to give my sponsors a shout out. If you're shopping for your mini stuff online anyway, consider using them to support an LGS that hosts game nights and a place to play for their local players. If you're in the UK, you can shop at Tritex using the code TritexGGCP5 at checkout. It'll save you an extra 5% off. And if you use that on a pre-order item like any of the, I guess not new Wakanda, but the new Rivals pack for Wakanda, or maybe this Ultron that is hopefully showing up soon, it'll actually end up saving you 25% off of MRSP. It is also thanks to Tritex that we get to do a monthly giveaway. All you need to do is be subscribed to the channel and leave a comment on a video the same month that it was released to enter. So if you comment about what you're hoping to find at Gen Con and are subscribed, it gives you a chance to win a MCP pack of your choice. For those in the US, head to GameChefs.org and use the code GamersGuild, no spaces, to save an extra 15% off of their already discounted prices, which comes out to a really good bargain on your end, to the point of I'm not really sure if I'm allowed to advertise the exact discounts and stuff. However, I will continue to say, if you're shopping from your own LGS, just keep supporting them. We all understand and appreciate that. And with that, I want to say thanks to the members of the Guild Hall who are supporting the channel and podcast directly with your contributions. I don't think it's a far stretch to say that we would not have been able to grow the way we have without that support. So thank you guys, and thank you all for watching. Until next time, keep on gaming.